Before it happened, I was just a weeb in my 30s. After I woke up, I realized that I'd been reincarnated as a weeb in my 30s. The goddess who brought me to this new world explained that the demon lord has been conquering the world, and only physical media can vanquish this evil. The Demon Lord's fortress is a massive 100-level structure full of demons who have very specific tastes in anime. I must provide anime on physical media to appease each demon and make my way to the 100th level. Apparently, this world operates like most isekai anime, and I have a random RPG status screen for no reason. I have 3 hit points, and I lose a point each time I fail to find an anime for one of the demons in the Demon Fortress. Supposedly, I can gain buffs and debuffs, but I'm just starting, so nothing yet. Now, I did mention that the demons have very specific tastes in anime, but they don't actually have any taste at all. They decide what they like based on dice rolls. Here are our dice, and we need a dice tower and dice tray. Our dice tray will be this clamshell case for the VHS release of Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. For our dice tower, I have my handy Evangelion VHS dice tower. This is the shell of a VHS cassette that has stopped working. The insides have been taken out, and it works surprisingly well as a dice tower. First, we're going to roll this red die and this cosmic die. The red die is our genre roll. There are 6 genre options, with some being multiple overlapping genres. For example, mystery, suspense, and horror are all in one option, as there tends to be a lot of overlap among those genres. The cosmic die is our time period roll. There are again 6 options, with each option being a decade. The 1970s roll also includes anything earlier than the 70s, with the other options being all the decades after that. Okay, here we go, our first roll. A 5 and a 6, so a comedy / slice of life from the 2020s. And now for our wild card roll. A d20 will add another condition or effect. 11, which means an anime original series. That's actually kinda rough. Comedies have a tendency to be adaptations, especially from 4-panel manga, but let's see what we can find. Zombieland Saga Revenge is the 2nd season of Zombieland Saga. It aired in the spring of 2021, and it is an anime original series. There is a manga adaptation, but the anime came first. If you aren't familiar with Zombieland Saga, it may look like a horror series, but it really isn't. Yes, there are zombies, but the zombies are in an idol group, and from there, the comedy writes itself. The show ran for 2 seasons of 12 episodes each, plus a movie. If you want to buy Zombieland Saga Revenge, it's available through many retailers. Unfortunately, the first season is out of print and out of stock at most retailers, but it can be found for a reasonable price on the secondhand market. The movie does not have a North American Blu-ray release, but it came out in theaters less than a year ago, so maybe it will soon. Alright, we did it. 1 anime down, 9 more to go for this level. Let's see how the dice treat us this time. Oh, a 5 and a 6 again, so another comedy from the 2020s. Well, I was hoping to show off tons of different scenarios right away, but I guess the dice really want recent comedy anime. Let's see what random modifier we get, and it's a 4. So our pick has to be at least 50 episodes. Not good. Anime on average has been getting shorter and shorter over the decades, so most are fewer than 50 episodes. There are exceptions, of course, but when you add all the criteria together, this is a tough dice roll. But I'm in luck. Spy Family is a comedy that started in 2022, and the 3rd season just aired last year. And best of all, as of the end of season 3, it's exactly 50 episodes. I have the first season here, which is half of the show. I do need to pick up season 2, and season 3 sadly does not have a Blu-ray release in North America yet. I do have the movie Spy Family Code White, which came out after the 2nd season. Just like Zombieland Saga, you might not think that this is a comedy just by looking at the title. It is about spies, assassins, and secret experiments, but it focuses more on trying to balance all of that while maintaining the appearance of being a normal family. so every episode has plenty of laughs. If you're interested in Spy Family, seasons 1, 2, and the movie are still available at many retailers. But the dice roll was for a show with at least 50 episodes. Spy Family does qualify, but I only own the first season, which means I only own 25 episodes. Does that still count? I'm not entirely sure, but it seems dubious at best, so I think I'm going to have to take a loss here. 2 more losses and it's game over. I'm hoping this next roll will be a little bit easier. Is it too much to ask for a different genre or time period? Let's find out. A 2 and a 4, so a fantasy from the 2000s. Nice, I can work with that. Let's see if our random d20 will ruin this. A 16, which is nothing. Nothing is good, I like nothing. That gives us tons of freedom. The 2000s had plenty of fantasy anime, many of which are very good. For my pick, I'm going to go with Fate Stay Night. Airing in 2006, this is the first anime adaptation of the Fate Stay Night visual novel. Animated by Studio Dean, this adaptation does take many liberties that fans don't like, and it has some interesting animation choices. However, I'm a pretty big Fate fan, and so I have plenty of Fate in my collection. I actually like this show in spite of its many flaws. The music is by Kenji Kawai, who always delivers, and while it does make some bad choices, the finale is perfect. If you're interested in buying this, it's available through many retailers, though I suggest waiting for a sale through Sentai Filmworks. This is a Sentai release, and they tend to have some pretty good sales on their products. That was an easy one, but we deserved it after 2 fairly difficult ones. Let's see what we get for our next roll. A 2 and a 6, so a fantasy from the 2020s. That's our third 2020s roll out of 4 rolls. Great. Well, let's see what our random d20 will do. 18. Expand the time period backward. Nice. So now we get to choose a show from either the 2010s or the 2020s. Wow, that actually really helped a lot. I have tons of options here. So let's get weird with this one. I want to show you just how niche physical media can get. On the previous roll, I chose Fate Stay Night, so let's continue that trend with Fate Stay Night TV reproduction. The only way that you would know about these is if you're an obsessed fan with absolutely no life. Wait. Anyway, these are 2 compilation films for the Fate Stay Night TV series. They came out in January of 2010, meaning that they barely qualify for our roll. These compilation films are actually OVAs, they did not have a theatrical release. They do contain a small amount of original animation, but are largely just a compressed version of the TV series. They have never been officially released in North America, not physically or on streaming. My Blu-rays are imports, and no, they do not have English subtitles. This is a niche item that I mainly own for the sake of collecting. If you want to own these, you will need to turn to the secondhand market and more than likely import them directly from Japan. Sorry if that last one was a bit weird. Hyper niche choices will pop up every once in a while. On to our 5th roll, let's see what we get. A 4 and a 6. So a drama/romance from the 2020s. Alright, let's see what our random d20 has to say about that. 15. Not dubbed in English. Not the worst roll, but not helpful. What's a good anime that doesn't have a dub? I have just the thing. This is Kizumonogatari Koyomi Vamp. It's part of the long-running Monogatari series which has never been dubbed in English. This film adapts the Kizumonogatari novel, but it's not the first film to do so. Kizumonogatari was originally adapted into 3 films, and this film, Koyomi Vamp, is the compilation of those 3 films, released in 2024. Now, is this a romance or drama? I would argue that it's a drama for sure. There is some romance, but I don't think that's the central focus. It's also a supernatural action film, and you could argue that's a horror film as well. However, at its core, it's a drama about 2 people whose fates become forever intertwined through a mix of chance and an act of goodwill. Being a compilation, many fans consider the trilogy of films to be superior, but I'll let you decide what you prefer. If you want to own Kizumonogatari Koyomi Vamp, you can buy it from the Crunchyroll store or from the secondhand market. I know, not the best options here. Alright, halfway through the first level. Let's see what we get next. A 3 and a 6. A science fiction from the 2020s. That's our 5th 2020s roll, meaning that half of our rolls are from one time period. What is wrong with this die? Anyway, our random d20 is going to land on 3, which means I need to roll another d6 in order to remove one animation studio from my options. All the options are studios that have been around for several decades and are still making anime to this day. It landed on 5, which means I can't choose anything from JC Staff. JC Staff definitely has a mixed reputation among anime fans. They made classics like Revolutionary Girl Utena, Excel Saga, and Azumanga Daioh. But they also made One Punch Man Seasons 2 and 3. Yeah, they kinda had a fall from grace. Anyway, we need to find a science fiction show from the 2020s that was not animated by JC Staff. I actually have tons of options, but let's go with Akudama Drive. This 12-episode series aired in late 2020 and was animated by Studio Pierrot. It's a brutal cyberpunk story created by Kazutaka Kodaka, the creator of the Danganronpa series. If you know anything about Danganronpa, you know that this show will be both clever and incredibly gory. The broadcast was heavily censored, and the Blu-ray version is uncensored and contains extra footage. If you want to own Akudama Drive, you can still find it through some online retailers. Let's get to our 7th roll. Please be an older time period, and a 5 and a 3. A comedy / slice of life from the 90s. Good, I was afraid that we wouldn't ever go pre-millennium. Let's see what our random d20 will do. 13, a female protagonist. Okay, cool, that shouldn't be too bad. Anime has this reputation for being all about guys fighting each other, but that just means that people have only been exposed to one kind of anime. There's tons of great female-led stories in anime, and it's a shame lots of people don't see that. For my pick, I'm going to go with His and Her Circumstances, also known as Karikano. This romantic comedy aired in the late 90s and is directed by none other than Hideaki Anno, the director of Neon Genesis Evangelion. When you watch this, you will definitely see Anno's influence, and it's so fun seeing him direct something so different. Of course, it wouldn't be Anno without a heaping helping of depression, so it's not all smiles and laughs. Still, it is a comedy, and a good one at that. While the story is about a couple, it's told mostly from Yukino's perspective, and she is undoubtedly the protagonist. Unfortunately, this show has yet to be released on Blu-ray, and the DVD is out of print. You'll have to find it secondhand, and while I've seen worse, it can be fairly pricey. Okay, on to the next roll. We have a 3 and a 6, a science fiction show from the 2020s. Okay, looks like I'm retiring this die after only one episode. This die has landed on 6 times this episode. Wait, is this like a 666 thing? We are finding anime for demons, so I guess that makes sense. Anyway, now for our random d20. A 15. Not dubbed in English. Okay, let's see what we can find. Here we have a tragic example. Urusei Yatsura, the 2022 reboot. This show was released in 2 sets by Sentai Filmworks, but only the first season received a dub. The second season wasn't dubbed, which continues the tradition of failed Urusei Yatsura dubs. The original series from the 80s only had 2 dubbed episodes, and the rest was released with Japanese audio. If you've never heard of Urusei Yatsura, it's one of the greatest anime of all time and a personal favorite. It's a sci-fi romantic comedy, so I guess it qualifies for half of the possible genres on my genre die. With frequent space adventures and crazy alien technology, it absolutely counts as a sci-fi even if it is a wacky romance. This 2022 reboot may not reach the same quality as the original, but it's still very good. And it does a good job of hitting the highlights and introducing all the characters in the series. If you want to buy the 2022 Urusei Yatsura reboot, it's still in print and available from many retailers. The 2 sets are labeled as seasons 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but most sources group them as just 2 big seasons. Regardless, the second set is the one with no dub. Alright, roll number 9. Let's see what we can get. Double 4s. A drama romance from the 2000s. Nice, the 2000s had tons of these, we've got this in the bag. Now let's see how our d20 ruins things for us. Oh, a 19. We can expand our time period forward, meaning we can also choose a show from the 2010s. That makes an easy roll even easier, and I honestly don't think we'll need to go into the 2010s anyway. As I said, the 2000s gave us plenty of drama and romance anime, many of them being adaptations of visual novels. F, A Tale of Memories and Melodies falls into that category. It's an adaptation of F, A Fairy Tale of the Two, which actually has an English physical release for PC. The anime adaptation consists of 2 seasons. F, A Tale of Memories and F, A Tale of Melodies, released in 2007 and 2008 respectively. The show is animated by Studio Shaft, and if you know anything about Shaft, you know that they have a unique style which can be seen in F. This show is absolutely filled to the brim with drama and romance, and while it does get a bit over the top at times, I love it. F, A Tale of Memories and Melodies is out of print, but fortunately prices on the secondhand market are very reasonable. And now for our last roll of the day, roll number 10. We got a 2 and a 1. A fantasy from the 1970s or earlier. Finally, some anime older than me. Let's roll a random d20. And nice, we got our first 20. I get to heal 1 HP, bringing me back to full health. So we just need to find a fantasy anime from the 1970s or earlier. The unfortunate thing about this roll is that it's before the fantasy genre really exploded in Japan. This would have been very easy if I had gotten the 80s or especially the 90s. However, there is a classic film that qualifies, that being Belladonna of Sadness from 1973. This film is considered to be a milestone in anime history and is one of the earliest examples of anime as a fine art. It's very avant-garde, featuring watercolor visuals and metaphorical imagery throughout. It's absolutely not for children. It tells the tale of a woman who is the victim of assault. She then makes a deal with a demon in order to gain power over her own life. This is a hard watch for sure, but it demonstrates that anime is a legitimate art capable of expressing mature and abstract concepts. If you want to purchase Belladonna of Sadness, it's available as a 4K and Blu-ray combo pack and can be found through many retailers. We just cleared the first level of the Demon Lord's Fortress. As the fortress levels get higher, so does my own level. With each level up, I'll heal up and will roll the buff and debuff die. It has a mix of positive and negative effects that will be applied to me moving forward. Yes, leveling up is supposed to mean good things, but not in this world, I guess. And it looks like I rolled a 3. Well, that's how it goes. I lose 1 HP, putting me at a serious disadvantage for the next level. Now for all my valued party members who have watched to the end of the video. It's time for you to share your input. Did all my anime choices meet the requirements? Vote yes or no in the poll below. For now, I'm going to rest up before tackling the next level. Farewell, may your favorite show get reprinted, and may your discs never rot.